In this video, let's go ahead and cover exactly what you need to purchase in the exchange shop, since there's a lot of goodies in there that you shouldn't be missing out on. And speaking of missing out on, if we go to our mailbox here, you can see we have 1,000 essence stones from the survey that I mentioned earlier in past videos. This is exactly why you need your notifications on and to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on these rewards. These do happen very often, and I always remind the viewers of this, so do subscribe and turn on notifications, that way you don't miss out. And speaking of easy rewards, don't forget about the supporter program that Marble has on their main page. I'll have this linked in the comment and description box below. Basically what this is all about is that if you support our channel, you can get some free rewards. Supporters can receive benefits from supporting their favorite content creator, so make sure to support us. We are currently ranked number 4, and we have close to 2,000 supporters, a huge number. Any rewards that Marble gives me, I'll make sure to give back to the viewers. As you see here, I'm able to share coupons that are given to me, a special gift for your supporters. So I can't wait to get this number boosted up as we climb the ranks, and as Netmarble solidifies this program, we'll get lots of rewards to give out to the viewers. But let's jump back to the exchange shop. As you know, there are a lot of goodies to purchase here. We're going to hop in, and I'm going to start with the celebration coin exchange. These are the coins you get from summoning. You get these coins from SSR summons, and these ones for anything under that. As you can see, we have a lot of good options here. Some of them do stick out. You can always purchase some draw tickets, of course, at a cost of 20 each. It isn't a bad value, though I would always recommend going with the rate up draw tickets first before any of the custom draw tickets. But what really does catch my eye here is the mana power extract. These are extremely rare. You basically can't get these throughout the game. This is probably one of the only sources that you can find them in, so I do always recommend purchasing these. You use these mana power extracts to level up skills to the later levels. That's why they are so important. So this is one of the things I do recommend spending your platinum currency on. Other than this resource here, I can't really recommend a specific item besides the draw tickets. These are very hard to come by. This is all I've gotten from all my summons in this game. I don't believe I've purchased a single thing from the shop, and I've only gotten 737. That means I can only purchase this resource about 5 times over. That's why I recommend getting these or the rate up draw tickets. At least with the rate up draw tickets, you can get more of these coins, so that's the main benefit there. So if you want more summons, get these, but if you want to really value your resources, get the mana power extract. It is probably the hardest thing to get in the game right now. Now, looking at what you should spend your regular coins on, that being the commemorative coin, we can see we have a lot of options. Ones that do stick out would obviously be the rune fragments. A decent value, not obviously the best, but not the worst. You're able to get 100 rune fragments at a cost of 1,200, not too bad. There's also these mana power elixirs. These aren't bad value as well. You have a lot of options. I wouldn't go for the level 1 options of any of these resources. Level 2 is basically what you want. It is better in terms of value. There is also gold in here, but I really wouldn't recommend it. At a cost of 300, you're better off spending it on runes, for example. That is very costly for only 10k gold. You could get 30 fragments for that cost, so I do recommend never getting gold here. Only go for the level 2 skill scrolls and the level 2 mana power elixirs, or go for the rune fragments. That is what I personally recommend. Obviously, if you do need it, you can purchase the lower level resources, but again, it's not what I recommend. Now, moving on to the weapon materials exchange, this is what you get for salvaging any rare items, SR weapons, or also your SSR weapons as well. Obviously, when it comes to SR weapons, I don't recommend salvaging them. The only time you could potentially salvage weapons is when you go to your hunter's gear. If you have gear for hunter from an event that you don't plan on using, I do personally recommend just salvaging it. I have this silver main Yunhu weapon here, and I really don't think I'll use it, so this is something I could potentially salvage. It's up to you, of course, but it is an option. Don't salvage top tier SSR weapons for hunters you're currently using. That would be a very bad idea. But looking back here, the number 1 thing you should purchase using the rare resources, that being the mana power imbued casting, I always recommend the hunter exclusive weapon design. That is the best bang for the buck. These are super rare to get. That's why I do recommend them. And other resources you can get if you max out on these and you have a surplus is possibly the skill scroll level 3, but at a cost of 250, I'd rather just wait for the shop to reset and pick up more of these exclusive weapon designs. That's what I would personally do. these are the best value, so in my opinion, don't spend these resources on anything other than the Hunter exclusive weapon design. Now looking at the regular material, the Traces of Dimensions, I believe the best value is not from the Mark of Time. These are far too expensive for what you get. I would recommend the Mana Power Crystal if you do need them, at a cost of 900 each. It could come in clutch to craft a weapon for a hunter, so to ease your mind, you can purchase these. If you desperately need a design as well, that's not a terrible buy. And honestly, anything here works except for the Melding Cube. These are so easy to get, and at a cost of 450, it is not worth it. And speaking of not worth it, do not spend the premium resource on the precision design. I don't think it's worth it at all. Although these are hard to get, they are not impossible. You can get them from gates, and it has happened to me multiple times. So just wait to get these resources. Events do give them out. They are very common, so I don't recommend you purchase these ever. But continuing on, you can purchase the level 2 skill scroll. That isn't a bad value. And if you are maybe desperate for weapon enhancements, you can get this as well, but at a cost of 750 for 5. It is a little bit expensive, but with this shop, you will get a ton of the Traces of Dimensions, so don't worry, you're not exactly losing progression by purchasing something you need. Just don't purchase the Mark of Time, don't purchase the cubes, and you'll be good to go. Designs aren't bad, weapon enhancements aren't bad, Power Crystal is pretty good, you will use these, so don't worry, as long as you don't purchase these two, you'll be fine in terms of value. Now moving on to the Mana Crystal Exchange, this is where the bulk of your purchases will be made. You obviously get a ton of these low tier mana crystals from the gates you do, that being in terms of mining. So if we look here, the two things you should always purchase, but with a little disclaimer, will be the Encore Mission keys. Always buy 2 of these, and also buy the Instance Engine keys as well. Always purchase 2 of these, but in my view, you can wait a little bit to buy these, and that's just because if we hop into the dungeons, let's go to Instance Engine for example, and we click, I believe it's tier 5. This is where you unlock the legendary items. Let me just double check. Yep. So at tier 5, this is where I would arguably recommend you purchase the keys, because you can finally get the legendaries and you want as many chances as possible to get these. So at tier 5, if you want to wait, this is the most optimal time to purchase them. At tiers 1, 2, and 3, and 4, you don't necessarily have to purchase them. You can wait, because at the earlier tiers, you could say it's potentially less efficient. I don't believe those dungeons provide EXP, so you're not really in a rush. The artifact bonus is really what they're used for, so feel free to wait if you want. You can instead purchase these scrolls or the elixir, that's up to you. These aren't bad value at all, but the first thing you should purchase is the keys. That is the absolute best value possible, and as I noted previously, the cubes you can purchase as well early on. You won't need them later on in the game, but early on this is something you can use to advance your weapons past the level caps. But when it comes to the weapon materials exchange, at a cost of 450, it is totally not worth it. So if you have to purchase these cubes, do it from the Mana Crystal Exchange. At a cost of 35, they're actually a decent value. And the same goes for the designs. At a cost of 50, not bad at all. So this is where the bulk of your purchases will take place. And with the weapon enhancements and artifact chips, well, at a cost of 20 and 20, they're not too bad necessarily, though 10 weapon enhancements won't really get you too much, but 10 artifact chips can help. So I would purchase these over these if you do need them. But again, with everything in the shop here, they are very usable, and you'll generally have a surplus of these low tier mana crystals. So don't worry about making a mistake here. The only main mistake you can make is by not purchasing these keys. So always make sure to purchase these, otherwise you're losing out on a ton of value. Now there's only one more shop left here, that being the Battlefield of Time exchange. You obviously get these resources from the Battlefield of Time, and there's not too much you can purchase. We are very limited. Overall, with the fragments here, the energy and the essence, I don't ever recommend purchasing these 4. It is not worth it. You really don't get good value of these, so avoid those. But Traces of Shadow, they aren't too bad if you do need them. You are given 10, but it isn't the absolute best value. With the rate up draw tickets, I do recommend purchasing these, but the number one thing you should purchase is the Hunter exclusive weapon design at a cost of 400. Obviously they're a bit expensive, but they are the rarest resource here. You seriously won't come across too many of the Medal of Time, so you won't really have too many choices here. You'll either be purchasing the weapon designs, or just going with the tickets here. The rate up draw ticket should be your number one choice, or the weapon design if you have enough. If not, go with these, then go with the custom draw tickets, and if for some reason you have a bunch of extra, you can get the Trace of the Shadow. Everything else here is really not worth it, especially not the gold. 20k gold for these resources is not recommended at all. Think about it this way. You get 20k gold for 50 of these, so if you purchase these 8 times, that's the equivalent of a hunter weapon design. So are you trying to tell me that 160k gold can purchase one of these? Absolutely not. So never buy the gold here. It is not worth it at all. And overall in the shop, the gold purchases are terrible value, so I really can't recommend these. So with the Battlefield of Time exchange, draw tickets are your friend. Same with the weapon designs if you have enough. Then go with the regular draw tickets, of course, and then the Trace of the Shadow if you have a surplus. These aren't bad value again, but these 3 should be your priority, since you can get Trace of the Shadow fairly easily, and there is a cap for them eventually, since you'll level up your shadows. So these 3 will be your best bet, because only 10 shadows, well, you can't really do too much with that. To rank up a shadow, you need close to 2,000 of these exchange tokens, so it isn't worth it at all. So yeah, I hope that I clarify things for you. The shop is fairly easy to navigate. There aren't too many mistakes you can make, except for purchasing the wrong items with the Battlefield of Time exchange, but other than that, it is fairly forgiving. Just do take note of the timers here. The Mana Crystal exchange does reset daily, but with the other exchanges, they go from a week to a month, so do take note of that. But with the Battlefield of Time exchange, it's for the event period, so in this case it's 36 days. But overall, that's everything you need to know. If you enjoyed, drop me a like, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and if you haven't already, be sure to support our channel. That way we all get some free rewards, since I know how hard it is to get resources in this game.